Ladies and gentlemen, friends, folk of all ages, welcome to another episode of Shadowrunnin on Empty, where we do our darndest to give you some of that sweet, sweet sixth world knowledge from first-hand accounts. Yep, standing by that. And joining us on this adventure into the knowledge zone, as always, we have the immaculate Tyler. Tyler, how you doing this evening?
Greetings, Earthlings. It is me, Tyler, from the sixth world that we're all in. Anyway,
You weren't supposed to spoil it that early on. That was supposed to be the reveal.
I botched it. But anyway, who's going to be telling us about their sixth world is our good old pal Easy Mode. Sorry, my Cos accent kicked out for a second, but Easy, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going great. Thanks for that dismount. It was expertly put together there.
Absolutely.
Flawless execution.
Truly.
Well, tonight we have a juicy, delicious topic in store for everybody. We've been talking about them back and forth, on and off. They've crossed our path on some of these lore podcasts. So I figured, why not just throw them right out so that everybody can learn as much as they could possibly want about them. And of course, we're talking about none other than the Shedim spirits. Dun dun dun. Where do they start? Where do they come from?
Where do they go?
Where do they dance? Joe?
Okay. Yep.
Sure.
Yep. Waiting. And I don't know that it paid off, but you know what, man? Fair.
We're here.
We're here. It's too late. We've already started.
All right, it's already in. So
recording light is on.
We're good. So we don't actually see these nasty little spirits until the 2060s. They're completely unheard of until the rift opens from the explosion of Dunkelzahn's limousine. And all these crazy entities come pouring out. And one of them are these nasty little spirits called Shedim. And they have the lovely little habit of wanting to possess dead bodies and use them to walk around. So they use them as shells. So we have this huge zombie scare that sweeps the world in the early 2060s, where the dead start rising and no one has an answer as to why it's happening.
When Shedims possess dead bodies, do they have like any type of like memory retention thing to them? Like, do they remember things that the body remembered, or is it like full on just husk with Shedim in it now?
It honestly depends on how long the body is dead and how fresh it is.
Okay.
So the more fresh, the more possible memory retention there is. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be able to use their skills.
Okay, gotcha. So like if they were to take over the body of a dead mage, that doesn't necessarily mean that they would be able to cast magic.
Correct.
But if it was a mage who just died, they would have all of the memories and information that the mage had when they were alive.
But whether they'd be able to do anything with that is not really known when they first arrive.
Right, but I mean, I guess I just mean more like the personality aspect of it, I think would be like the most terrifying part of Shedims, is the fact that they can just take over the dead body of somebody and be like, I'm alive again now. Ooh.
And the first few that appear are more of the mindless, just kind of animalistic ones.
Okay.
I don't know if we mentioned this before, but is there a visual indicator other than the person who was dead being alive? Like, do they have like this, like they have weird eyes or they smell weird?
It's in the astral, right? Can't you tell if you look at them in the astral? Yeah. Because we talked about that when we talked about the possible Shedim dude from the Middle East, right? That's possessed, but maybe not, but maybe.
But yes, but no.
But yes, but no.
Yes, you only can recognize if somebody is possessed by a Shedim. One, if you knew they should be dead and they are alive, and two, if you look at them in the astral.
Oh, that's actually a good question as well. If they possess somebody that died, like say somebody gets shot in the head,
Mhm.
and then if they possess the body, does it heal the body, or do they still have a fucking like big bullet wound sticking out of their forehead?
They still have a giant bullet wound in their forehead.
Thick. Okay, well
Love
that would
that.
probably be a pretty good indicator that somebody is a Shedim,
Hmm.
first and foremost.
Well, when the cemeteries started emptying in the early to mid 2060s, people had lots of questions.
Listen, I've always supported that all cemeteries should entomb with concrete. All right, it prevents us from having to worry about zombies, and it sounds like it would prevent us against Shedims as well.
Thank you, Mayor West.
Exactly. I'm saying it was a great idea. Taxpayers' money hard at work, man.
Hmm. Hmm.
Think of all the jobs of concrete pourers it would create.
All right, heavy industry. Come on. Eventually, the Shedim must have gotten tired of getting ejected from shattered corpses because they get smarter and they stop hanging around graveyards as they become more acclimated to our plane of existence.
So, with that, I do feel like that would be a pretty good introductory segue here. So, easy, where do Shedims come from?
The Shedim come from some outer metaplane. Nobody knows exactly where from. Just an unlisted, unknown metaplane that they poured in from. No one's been able to find it.
It's also
Not
like
sh-
a relatively new phenomenon considering it occurred with the Dunkelzahn
Hmm.
assassination.
If you take it up to current time, it's only been 20 years.
So, is it possible that the Shedims are from the same plane that the dark evil spirit guys are also from?
That's been theorized, but again, there's no way to prove it for sure.
Right. For everything that we've accomplished in the sixth world so far, interdimensional travel is still not quite a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, remember, Wu Jing is playing around with it, but they haven't mastered it. So is MCT.
Right, right.
Both of them are playing around with it, but have not mastered it. So with these Shedim spirits just kind of taking over corpses, hanging around morgues, jumping into mages' bodies when they astrally project. um, People just think that they're these annoying spirits that are inhabiting the dead, and they have no kind of higher thought process. They just think of them as pests.
Right.
Well, that changes in good old 2064.
Everything changed in 2064.
A lot of things changed after Halley's Comet. So in 2064, we have good old Badr al-Din ibn Isa, the leader of the Islamic Unity Movement.
Yeah, that was the guy I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, and declarer of the new Islamic Jihad.
Right.
He is found out to be what's called a master Shedim. Now, remember, most people were equating these to like feral spirits and just
Right.
mindless things. But the presence of the master Shedim now meant that there was some driving force behind them because the master Shedim showed intelligence.
What do you think the Master Shedim's favorite song is?
I'm going to have to go with Puppet Master.
Master
Damn.
Master of Puppets?
Master of Puppets, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I like to think of the Pinocchio song. There are
Oh,
no
I've got
strings
no
on
strings.
me.
Yeah, got no strings. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's also fair.
They're really into show tunes.
I like to imagine that it's Purple Rain because just everybody likes Prince. So
That's why they're so hard to figure out.
that's
They blend in so well.
they've adapted.
Ah,
Oh,
yes,
geez.
human. I mean, fellow human. I am also into Purple Rain.
Oh, wow. So Master Shedim are ones that when they inhabit the body, they're the ones that will retain the memories and the abilities.
Oh, so
Which
Joe
makes
Smo
them
Shedim can't acquire all these abilities.
right, but
Gotcha.
Master Shedim can, which makes them that much more devastating. They're also much harder to root out and discover because of their enhanced masking abilities, makes them very hard to notice in the astral.
Now, when you say it, does it shield them completely, or it makes it so that you can't tell you're looking at a Shedim?
It makes it so you can't tell that you're initially looking at a Shedim. You have to really concentrate or know what you're looking for. By 2064, the most prolific master Shedim is the one that is leading the Islamic unity movement. But these aren't the only ones that are in play. There was also an action by a man named Evan Cochran that infiltrated Shedim into the UCOS DSA as operatives that were called Shades. And that is a special, like, black site division of the UCOS military. So they are bringing Master Shedim and training them to be like special forces.
I mean, who would win in a fight between the zombie Shedim commandos and the blood jaguars? That's the real question.
Go Blood Jaguars.
I don't know. Zombie Shedim commandos. Just because as you destroy the body that the Shedim inhabits, they just keep coming as long as they can.
Yeah, and then if they kill one of the blood jaguars, then a Shedim could just take over the body of the blood jaguar, and then now that's four bodies back
Exactly.
for their force. So I don't know, man. Shedim commandos is kind of fucking terrifying.
Funny that you should mention that because we'll talk about an instance here where that actually happened.
And it worked
Lovely.
out exactly as intended, and there were no negative ramifications or side effects, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
as is wont to happen in the sixth world.
And everything was okay.
Yep. But up.
Shadowrun.
Yeah. So towards the end of the 2060s, the growth of Shedim spirits entering into our metaplane was dropped sharply, and that is by in part thanks to Ghostwalker coming back and sealing the Watergate rift.
Good old
That's what they were
Ghostwalker, man.
primarily using to come through.
That Ghostwalker doesn't get enough credit, I'm saying.
So right now, no, they're suspected that no new Shedims are coming through. However, the master Shedims that have already made their way across into our metaplane could be plotting to reopen a rift somewhere to allow more Shedim.
Now, if they're unable to, what does it take to like get rid of a Shedim?
Oh, you can just banish them. Like banishing
okay,
spells
so
still work because they are spirits.
Okay.
It's just the master Shedim are a little bit more resistant, and they're usually surrounded by regular Shedim inhabited people that they'll use to throw at you before you can get to them. So lots of banishings is the
answer.
Name of the game.
Yeah.
Do banishings have a downside if it were to happen to like a normal person?
Nothing would happen.
So would it be feasible for just, I don't know, just you're trying to stay on top of it, you know, like nowadays in our post pandemic sort of world where everyone's like getting like thermometered, can you just be like, banish spell on this guy, thank you for coming to Walmart? Like you can't.
I mean, I guess you could. That's also the job of what wards are supposed to do, sort of, where if you're warding an area, spirits can't pass through the ward without trying to attack or destroy the ward, which would then alert the mage that put it up.
Right. And that's how you would know that somebody's possibly trying to Shedim in the building.
Well, once they learned about Shedim, a lot of morgues in hospitals actually started warding their morgues specifically.
Smart.
Understandably so. Also, I mean, we kind of learned this from the end of the Auto story in Sinless, but isn't doing a banishment spell like very intensive as well? Like
it can be depending
on the strength of the spirit that you're trying to banish. Gotcha.
Yes.
So it would be more like somebody would want to walk into Mega Walmart and you would cast the banishment spell on them, and then you would have to wait 20 minutes before you could have the next person walk in because you have to re-prepare the spell to get everything in. So
it becomes a whole ordeal. It's not very cost effective.
Yeah. And Tyler, you remember how people reacted when you just asked them politely to wear a mask in public, right? So like, I don't know, man. I'm just, if society's taught us anything, I don't know if the 20-minute wait to get into Ultra Walmart is gonna go over well.
But Ultra Walmart has guns.
They sure do, brother. And you know what? You shoot them Shedems. They just maybe you'll die. I don't know.
We haven't tested bullets enough on them.
That's true. Can you just
Someone should get on that.
Just shoot the Shedems out of them, you know?
No, I mean you can
Shoot
destroy their shell enough to where they'll discard it because it's useless, but that's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
Let's talk Shedim hotspots. Where do they
Local
like to
Shedems
hang
in your
out?
area?
Yeah.
Hot Shedems in your area.
Sheedem and looking to mingle, you know what I'm saying?
Master Sheedem's looking to puppet you.
Good.
Oh, no.
Oh my.
So the first stop on our list is good old New Orleans.
Yeah, that makes sense.
New Orleans has always had a powerful mystical connection, but it's a hotspot for Sheedem because one, New Orleans sits below sea level, which means that all of their graveyards
are above ground.
Above ground.
They sure are.
Whee!
So it's much easier to inhabit a new body should you need to discard the one that you're in.
This is fine.
And it's very hard or it's very unlikely that someone would go in and ward every mausoleum.
It's 20 years, just prepare, man.
But what about Nick Cage's pyramid tomb? Is that still safe?
Come on, Easy. Is it still safe?
Is it still safe?
Only if it's warded.
God damn it.
I feel like Nick Cage is the kind of guy who would want to ward his
He would probably have a ward on the tomb. I mean, that's where he keeps the Declaration of Independence, so you got to keep it safe. So it makes sense.
No questions.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Truly.
Math checks out.
Math does check out. So that's the main reason that New Orleans is a hotspot for Sheedem, is getting a new body is extremely easy.
Makes sense.
From New Orleans, we take a lovely jaunt on over to Los Angeles.
I was kind of hoping that you were going to be like Vermont, the second hotspot of Sheedem activity.
Minnesota.
Oh,
hey, man. A lot of lakes out there. A lot of places for
to vibe out.
Bodies to be done. I don't know. You know what? I lost the thread on the lake thing. I gotta be honest. I thought I had something.
So
not a lot of mafia in Minnesota, so not a lot of need for 10,000 lakes to get rid of bodies, I guess.
So you're telling me the line Minnesota Mafia is open?
It is. It absolutely is. It's free for the taking.
BRB.
Yeah, if you can get Brock Lesnar on board, you guys start the Minnesota Mafia. Be a pretty good stable. I'd like it. I'd support it.
Wow. He'd do it. Come on, he's ready to join any team.
You just gotta have enough zeros on the back of that paycheck. Brock Lesnar will do anything, baby.
True.
I mean, you're in the mafia. You gotta have somebody break somebody's kneecaps.
He'll suplex your kneecaps.
Just your kneecaps. It's
just your kneecaps. It's impressive.
It's impressive. It's terrifying.
Oh God! All right, so Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were talking about.
Yeah. We're in LA.
Can we go back to Vermont? What if Vermont is? What if we just don't know? You can't tell me it's not.
Let me look at my list really quick.
Hell yeah, I swear, dude. If Vermont, come on, baby, fingers crossed, fingers crossed for Vermont.
Nope, no Vermont.
Damn it!
I know, it's so disappointing. So LA is a hotspot because it was rocked with earthquakes in 2069, and they devastated several areas so badly that no one went to clean up the mess. And unfortunately, that mess includes thousands of dead bodies.
And this was after they were aware of the threat that was Sheedem?
Well, yes, the quakes happened in 2069, and Sheedem starts showing up in 2061.
So they were aware of what would happen, I suppose.
Well, probably not fully, but there's nothing that they could do about it. It was devastating. And to go in for that kind of cleanup, there's no FEMA really, because you're in LA, which is part of Cal Free State. It's not connected to the UCOS anymore. They're left to their own devices.
Oh, you can only do so much, you know.
And California, as we know, does not care about California infrastructure. So,
Oh God, yeah, that's topical right now.
Everyone's catching strays today, dude.
pew, pew.
No one is
So-
safe.
So with that massive body, that means that
Except Vermont. Vermont's the only one that's safe, apparently.
you know what?
Yeah,
Segue
what's
here.
up?
I bet there are a bunch of Sasquatches in Vermont.
There probably are. Well, also, wouldn't Vermont be part of the Jesus, why do I always forget the name
UConn?
of it?
Yeah, it'd be part of the UCAS.
It's part of the UCOS? I thought it was
Mhm.
part of the
cost?
no, the
The native nations?
yes. Why can I not think
The
of
Nan?
the
No,
Nan?
no.
I thought I
Nan.
thought it was part of the
Nope.
Nan.
No, the Nan territories stop about when you reach the Midwest.
Okay, so it's more like upper Pacific into central
Mhm.
Pacific area
Yes.
type. Okay, okay. I don't know why for some reason I thought it was just like the entire top half of the United States was the Nan at this point.
No, you have to think that's mostly because most of the eastern tribes were wiped out. Like there are no
Mm,
survivors by the time the Sixth World rolls around.
right. Okay, that makes sense.
There's no
Okay.
one there to claim their traditions. So
Right. Yeah, it is mostly Pacific to Central United
Mhm.
States. So that yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So the large, massive bodies in LA after the earthquakes allows for large nests of Shedim to rise around LA.
Not great.
Collapsed buildings left thousands of people dead. Some of them were crushed, some starved or dehydrated while trapped, and groups of Shedim found these bodies, inhabited them, and then dug their way out.
Wow. If Shedim can do it,
I like to
So can-
imagine like how many of them then also went on to just become like extras for movies. Because like if you're a Sheedom, you just have to stand in the background, right? So like they could
Mhm.
totally just be extras.
So
Like
once
60% of the extras portion of SAG-AFTRA at this point are just Sheedom possessed corpses. They're like, look, they work below union scale. I don't know what you want me to say. What are we gonna do? Not hire them?
we don't even have to pay them. It's great.
They just like to be there.
They're just happy to be on screen.
You
Yeah.
could get a 2-for-1 with stuntmen if you get a stuntman
geez.
and then they die, and then you get a Sheedem stuntman.
And then you put a Sheedom in it. You're like, all
Huh.
right, take two, do it again. Try not to die this time, or do I don't know. You're Sheedom already. I guess you do you, Haas. I don't know what to tell you.
Do whatever. Just don't report it to the union.
Oh God. Well, the big reason that you don't see that is the way Sheedom spirits act when they're inhabiting a corpse. If a Sheedom goes after a live person, when they touch you, they're basically draining your soul.
So
And-
it is Hollywood. All
and
right.
that's what they feed on.
So all
Huh.
the Sheedoms are producers, is what I'm hearing.
God,
they're
yes.
not. They're not
Everyone
extras.
get down.
Jeez, shots fired everywhere tonight. The crazy thing about
Welcome to
them,
Shadowrunnin on Sassy Boys.
3 finger snaps.
snap, snap, snap. So with them digging their way out of these destroyed buildings, they would then start gathering, and they'd pick some of these places where they'd crawl out of, and they would build several entries and exits, they would then fill with traps and collapsing points. So even if they were to be bombed out, they just hold up down in there and dig themselves back out.
Okay, I'm curious. So have we discussed like if a Sheedim's in your body,
Mhm.
will the body ever rot, or
Yes,
will
it will.
ever? Okay,
It still succumbs to the elements.
And can you starve?
They don't eat regular food. I mean, they have some
Okay.
regenerative ability to prevent like super decomposition, but if they find a body that's already succumbed to some rot, they'll inhabit it and it'll stop it at that point. But
They'll maintain, but they
Mhm.
won't prevent.
yes,
Gotcha.
Okay.
Because yeah, Sheedoms like don't eat, right? Like food.
No.
Yeah,
they don't need to eat. They don't need to sleep.
just essence. They thrive off of your
We require
essence.
more essence.
Give us your souls. They're basically Shang Tsung.
Your Shedim's soul is mine.
I mean, don't make me a Shedim fan. Don't do that.
I mean,
Shedim Sung.
Yeah, I was like, there's nothing in the rules that say that we can't have a Master Shedim named Shedim Sung.
I'm back in.
So
and every year he throws a martial arts tournament in order to get the combatants to die so he can possess the dead bodies with Shedems, thus making an army
Wait a minute.
of the
Shang
greatest
Tsung
fighters
is
in the world
clearly
that
a
are
Master
possessed
Shedim.
spirits under his control. Guys,
This sounds like the most logical.
Guys, is Ed Boon just a Shadowrun fan? Is this what we're
Is Ed
finding
Boon
out
a
today?
Shedim?
Is
This
Ed
is what
Boon a
we're finding
Shedim?
out.
Oh, fuck! I didn't even think about that. Is Ed Boon a Shedim?
These are the important questions, guys.
Truly.
There are also in LA people that died in the floods that happened from the earthquakes as well, and of course were then ravaged by nature, but are also an easy source of bodies for the Shedim. And once in the bodies, it doesn't matter to the Shedim how long they sit in the water because they have the regenerative ability. So this has allowed them to create collections of small underwater bases.
Cool. Sick.
These bases are deep enough that metahumans can only reach them with diving gear.
Guys, I'm back in on Shedems are in Minnesota. Let's go.
And most bases are
10,000
filled.
lakes, baby. That's a lot of Shedems.
And most bases are filled with water, with the exception of just a few pockets of air. And since they don't need a light source, it's pitch black, murky water. So just imagine the nightmare of swimming around in this cold, dark, murky water, and you just happen to bump into a corpse. Is it infected by a Shedim? You have no idea.
And then the corpse bumps back into you.
That's true.
Easy, if you ever put us in a scenario where we're going after an underwater Shedim hive in Sinless, I'm fucking out. I just want you to know that right now. I'm out.
What?
That's where I draw the line.
A Shedim hive underwater?
If you make us go after an underwater Shedim hive, I'm out. That's it. That's where I draw the line.
Fair enough.
We already did the underwater base of bug spirits, all right? I don't want to do underwater Shedems too.
I do have a slight correction for myself. My mistake. LA is not technically part of Cal Free State. It's technically in the Pueblo Corporate Council.
Because NorCal is the Free State. Yeah. That's fine. You know what? I'll let it slide. Don't let it happen again.
Okay. I just had to make that small correction.
That's fair. Everybody gets one.
Okay. Our next hotspot,
except for Tyler, he's on like 9, and I think I'm at like 6. So
I'm trying to go for 11 this year.
Our next hotspot takes us to the Sioux Nation. We are in the Nan, in a place called Flat Willow. Here is your story.
Where would this be in relation to like modern US?
Let me.
I draw the line in doing geography on the show.
I'm shit, out. My bad. All right, my bad. Don't tell Tyler, just tell me.
La.
Looks like Montana.
Okay.
So yes, it is a former town in Montana, now in the Nan in the Sioux Nation. This is the story where, well, I'll get into it. It's like I mentioned before, where you made the comment about the blood jaguars would just get taken over by the Shedim, and then they'd have, the super soldiers on their side. Well, this is kind of what happened here. It's a small Montana town where the inhabitants completely died out during the relocation years. And the relocation years were when they were moving the Native Americans, 2000 teens after the whole incident with taking over a missile base. Remember the relocation camps? So in the late 50s, a Go gang takes over the town and the abandoned buildings and uses them as a headquarters until 2062, where a batch of Shedim took over the local cemetery, dug their way up, and proceeded to take over the town for themselves, killing the Go Gang in the process.
Fun.
Since that point, the town grew as a gathering place and stopover point for any Shedim in the region,
Local Shedim in your area.
as well as a central hub for their efforts to draw power from Yellowstone.
What's the deal with Yellowstone?
Yellowstone has become a magically active site. I believe there's a ley line that goes through Yellowstone, and the Shedim believe that if they siphon enough power off, they could possibly reopen a rift.
Neat. Cool.
So I know what you must be thinking, since this is happening in the Nan. Why don't the Wildcats go in and just sweep them off the land?
Mm-hmm.
And for those not in the know, the Wildcats are the special forces of the Nan forces.
Mm-hmm.
In 2074, the Sioux Nation sent in a team of Wildcats and 24 other members of the Sioux military to stop the Shedim at Flat Willow. By the end of the assault, the town was on fire. The Wildcats had managed to push the Shedim back into a nearby mine and then ordered that mine blasted shut.
Oh no.
Everybody went home thinking job well done. 1 month later, the town was rebuilt and the mine had been dug back open from the inside because the Shedim had stored extra bodies in the mine.
Uh-huh.
The townspeople called in the Wildcats again and over the next several months, but the Wildcats were overwhelmed because whenever a Wildcat fell, a Shedim took over that body.
Yeah, that checks out.
So you're just giving armor and ammunition to the other side for free.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So yes, in a Shedim versus any kind of special forces unit with enough Shedim around, they win.
Yeah. The Shedim, man. If you can't beat them, you've got no choice but to join them.
Truly.
There is no choice. You will join.
Yep.
Well, now we're going to leave the Nan and Yukos, and we're going to leave North America. We're going to head on over to Asia. And we are now in the Siberian outback, known as the Yakut, or the Yakut. It's hard to pronounce.
Uh-huh.
But this land is full of magical creatures.
Uh-oh.
The nation has become a mecca for many Shedim on the Asian continent. And because it's primarily inhabited by paracritters and powerful shamans, it makes it an easy place to hide. Also, it's Siberia, so yeah, so the Siberian wilderness. Here, the Shedim are working in small groups all over the nation because they can survive in the harsh environment without it really phasing them. The cold has no effect on them. They are trying to get to some of the magical power sites that are located in the Siberian region, especially around a region called Tunguska.
Hey, I know that.
And anyone with a little understanding of the history of magic will know that the location has a powerful event in its past, and there are some major magical power sites, possibly ley lines and everything that flow through this area. And so, of course, the Shedim are attracted to these because they're trying to find ways to open rifts to allow more of their kind back into our realm. But since it's such a abundant area of magic, they can't get a foothold without being driven off, which is good because we don't want them digging
Have all the
themselves
power.
in.
Yeah.
The next hotspot for Shedim is not hot at all, but very cold. Here we go to Antarctica. And this is not a place that you would think that you would find Shedim because it's so barren.
It sounds like to me the more inhospitable, the better.
Because they can hide easier.
Right.
It's just Antarctica is kind of a giant sheet of lifeless ice. But it does give them places to hide because looking for lifeless shells shambling along a white background of snow is like looking for a grain of flour in a bag of flour.
Right. Of all the like nightmarish things we talk about in Shadowrun, the Shedim seem like top 3 Omega level threats, to be honest.
If enough of them break through to our realm, yes, they would be very threatening. Supposedly, the Shedim are in Antarctica because they're looking for a portal.
Have we talked about this portal?
No, this gateway is supposedly a permanently open pathway to the metaplanes. And of course, the Shedim would hope to find this portal and then adjust it so that it connects to their home plane so that more of them could pour in.
So it's like a doorway to a doorway.
Yeah. So whether it actually exists, people are looking for it. There are especially corporations that are down here. So there are small little habitats that are set up, and the Shedim like to raid these habitats for, you guessed it, more bodies. And these Shedim have grown very crafty about it because they'll infiltrate a small camp, kill everyone, and then set off the distress beacons.
Oh no.
It makes me think of is it Day of the Dead?
Mm-hmm.
Send more cops.
Yes.
Accurate. Yeah.
Very accurate.
I want to say it was the no. I need to no. It's not Day of the Dead. Which one is it? God. Okay, hang on. I'm
Land of
gonna
the
figure
Dead?
this out. Nope, it's not the Land of the Dead. It's the one with the tar man. Return of the Living Dead. That's the one I was trying to think of. Okay, I'm sorry.
And easy as cut it to where you
Yep.
said that and
So
immediately had the right
that
answer.
nailed it in
Yes,
one.
nailed it
in one.
Nailed it in one. But yes, very much a Return of the Living Dead scenario.
Next, we head on over to Africa.
Real quick, in relation to the inhospitable thing, is there anything that we know of that's inhospitable for Shedim? Like, is there anything that they're just like, nah, maybe not for us? Because it kind of just seems like nothing bothers them, and they're just kind of down for whatever. So, is there anything?
Nothing has been discovered.
Sick. Okay, cool.
Sick. Love that. Love that for us.
Isn't it great? So, Africa, you wouldn't expect to find very many Shedim here. Well,
not true. Not true. I expect to find lots of Shedim all over the place now. This is what you've made me a believer of tonight.
Stay vigilant.
Yeah. The Shedim are everywhere.
Well, think about one of the reasons that they would be attracted to Africa.
Easy's probably a Shedim at this point. Who knows?
Oh, geez, I'm a master.
It all makes sense.
So in Africa, you have to focus on the abundant mass graves of Africa's war zones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's just a juicy, yummy target for the Shedim spirit.
Yeah.
Africa also lacks a serious force or a united force to be able to deal with the Shedim problem. So the sheer number of Shedim still wandering the continent is ridiculous. The only force that seems interested in tackling the Shedim problem in Africa is the ghoul nation of Azamando.
Hey.
Cool. Ghoul nigh the Antum Shedim guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, sorry.
The problem is convincing other nations to allow ghoul forces to cross their borders to deal with the threat. This has become
a better option.
Yeah, this has become a quite politically delicate problem.
So then, if a ghoul dies, can a Shedim possess a ghoul body?
Good question.
There are some questions science should not answer.
This is one of them.
This is not one of them. We need to know.
For the good of all.
Because if that's the case, I mean, it feels like the answer to how do we stop Shedems is send ghouls.
Send in the ghouls.
Send in the ghouls.
The problem being that people don't like ghouls very much.
Ghouls are people too, Easy. Ghouls are people too.
I know, we talked about that.
Ghouls' rights. Ghouls right.
rights.
Ghouls right. Ghouls right.
All right. Calm yourselves.
Hey, I have a ghoul that works for me now. Okay, I have to. If I'm not the one out here trumpeting, who's going to?
What a guy.
I'm so proud of you with your forward-looking.
That's me, baby. I'm like a shark. They
Huh?
can't look back because they don't have necks.
Oh, I thought it was. I'm like a shark. If I stop moving, I'll die.
Oh, there's that too, but mostly it's the forward-looking thing.
Gotcha.
Well, it doesn't look like it.
You know, for the
I'm gonna
listeners out there, if they know, maybe they can let us know. Huh?
I'm gonna lean towards no because I don't know. That's something that I will definitely have to research more into and find out. That was a very good question.
But I'm sure there are other lore heads out there.
If you do know, please drop us a line.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the problem in Africa, and there is the ghouls that want to take care of it, but they are politically shot down because nobody wants to trust the ghouls.
Foolish. I might be biased here, but like when you measure a ghoul versus a Shedim, I feel like one of those is way more threatening. Because what? If you die around a ghoul, what? It's gonna eat you. Ooh, cool. But if you die to a Shedim, then you are Shedim. So wake up, people.
So here's one of the
Wake up,
nightmares.
Sheedum pull.
Wow.
Nice. Woo,
Thank
got
you.
their asses.
Got them.
Good job. All right, let's hop on back over to Northern Cal Free State. Now, the nation of Cal Free is only about the size it was when North America broke up, and they're down 2 major cities. They seem to just be getting picked apart piece by piece. And another piece that they may be losing is land north of Reading, all the way to the former California state line, which is where they were originally battling against the Tier. And what happens when you have 2 warring countries next to each other? What do you get? You get corpses. What are these corpses going to attract? Sheedem.
Not a great look.
Nope. And the Sheedem are gathering here in this area because they want something from Mount Shasta. Nobody knows exactly what it is, but that is Hestabe's lair is Mount Shasta. So you have a dragon kind of keeping them at bay.
Whoa. Is there a record of a Sheedem dragon?
No, there is not.
Whew. Okay.
That would be terrifying.
Oh,
That would be
man.
absolutely
Dude,
awful.
Dunkelzahn comes back as a zombie Sheedem dragon.
How
What
dare
a
you?
nightmare.
How dare you? Need to stop.
I'm
You need to
saying that
stop.
this is something you got to be aware of, people.
First of all, Dunkelzahn not dead, so take that and
Wow. And shove it in your mysterious forces.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Jeez. So now the big question: what is it that the Sheedem want? Why are they here?
Bodies, I imagine.
Make more Sheedem. That seems like their modus operandi for every place they've been to.
Yeah.
Besides the bodies, the true desires of the Sheedem are still very much unknown.
What's the deal with Sheedem? No, but seriously, what the hell do they want, man?
It's a show about Sheedems.
So several of the open hypotheses about what the Sheedem are after focus on an invasion of some kind.
No.
The idea that the Sheedem are here to take over and enslave isn't quite ridiculous enough, but it isn't strongly supported.
So you're saying that
it's an efforts.
It's an invasion of body snatchers of sorts, is what you're getting at.
Well, not entirely. I mean, they inhabit the dead, so enslaving us doesn't really track. And nowhere in their communities or enclaves where they crop up are there any kind of just human slaves. Everybody's a shell that's inhabited by a Sheedem.
Right, and it doesn't seem like they're actively trying to like genocide humanity for the sake of Sheedems as well.
Yeah, they've taken bodies. They don't seem to be placing themselves in positions of control or power. Like you don't have them trying to run these gambits, especially as Master Sheedem, to run for office or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the one leading the new Islamic Jihad, but that's a master Shedim.
Mm-hmm.
The next speculation is that the Shedim that are here currently is some kind of advanced force, and and the rest of the invading force was cut off when Ghostwalker closed the rift.
My man.
Some people think that they are working to mana form our plane in order to make it suitable for more of their kind.
Oh wait. Okay, so is the idea that the vessels that they're taking over are strictly because their bodies can inhabit our plane?
Mm-hmm.
And so if they make it inhospitable, that means that the Shedim can actually be here.
Like actually exist openly and not just
Yeah.
in the astral. Yes.
That is a nightmare.
That is what mana form means.
Sick.
Think of it like terraforming.
But mana.
For spirits. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Sick.
Another hypothesis that's not very well supported is the idea that the Shedim are actually here mana mining. They're siphoning off ambient mana little bits at a time and trying to send it back to their native metaplane. Of course, there's no depleted mana in the regions that they are dominantly in to kind of support this idea. The early studies of the Shedim show a disconnect between them and their native metaplane. So the idea that they are refugees is one that is widely accepted. It was discovered very early on that the Shedim have no ability to return to their native metaplane of their own volition. They'll only get sent back there if banished. So they don't operate like our native plane spirits where they could just come back. Also, with them having poured through the rift when Ghostwalker came through as if they were escaping something helps support this hypothesis. Now, what are the stranded Shedim doing here? Nearly every group of Shedim is looking for artifacts and other arcane items, presumably something that might allow them to summon more of their kind or to possibly open another rift to reestablish their connection with their native metaplane. What makes this kind of interesting is that Master Shedim are not above hiring runner teams to raid these types of places and acquire the artifacts and bring them back to them.
Interesting.
You got to pay like a pretty penny, I think, to encourage a group of mercenaries to work for what's essentially like a world-killing species.
Well, I assume most of the time they don't know that they're working for Shedims.
Exactly.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Unless you have a mage with you that can check the astral to see that it's a Shedim, but like from what it seems like, and I could be mistaken on this, Easy, so let me know. But it kind of feels like magic users aren't super common as Shadowrunners.
Not a whole lot, no, because a lot of them will be offered very sweet contracts working for mega corporations.
They get picked up quick.
They do get picked up and researched quick.
Yeah, so either working for megacorps or going into like magic medicine or like magical study fields.
Yes.
Like it feels
like higher education.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Shadowrunners don't have a lot of magic users generally.
Generally not a lot.
Yeah. Which is why it makes it funnier when I give DSB shit all the time for maybe
we can get another one of you around the corner.
Yeah, because that is definitely not the case. But yeah.
Don't tell him that though. Don't let him know.
Yeah, we can't let him know his word. It'll go to his head. So yeah, that makes sense. I mean, getting runners to do it for you is easier. And then if the runners die in the process, that's just more Shedims, you know. It seems like a win-win.
Well, even when the runners come back to return the goods and complete the job, the Master Shedim has the nasty tendency of trying to, quote, bring them into the fold.
Yeah, thank you for your work. Gunshot, gunshot, gunshot. Look at that.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the team.
Oh, geez. Very true. So not everything is bleak for the Shedim being in our world, there are forces that are working against them. There are 2 dragons.
Ooh.
One of them is Arlesh.
Oh,
I know. And the other is Hestaby. Both of them are making actual moves against the Shedim spirits,
what does that entail?
stopping them from collecting magical artifacts, keeping them out of powerful magical sites.
That seems like a pretty good plan.
Pretty much
Solid
chasing them off their territory. But then you have other magical organizations that are working to eradicate them as well. The 2 prominent magical societies that are fighting against the Shedim infestation of our world is the Dark Brotherhood and the
I'm sorry?
Order of Saint Sylvester.
The Dark Brotherhood?
Yes,
What have we talked about these guys?
we have not yet, but the
Oh,
Dark Brotherhood is focused on fighting this extra planar menace. They don't have very many members, but they make up for that with their surgical precision strikes. And the members of the Dark Brotherhood boast that they have never lost a brother in battle against the Shedim.
how do you go about doing that?
Well, you probably hire a bunch of mooks.
That's exactly what a Shedim would tell you to make you think that they're not
Oh
Shedim.
my god!
So
Should've
true.
known.
So true. Most people would not expect a Catholic religious order seeking out to destroy the extraplanar evils because the Catholic Church gets kind of a bad rap in the sixth world.
What?
Huh?
But
What
the
have they got
order,
against the church? Anyway,
well, there's the Order of Saint Sylvester who they don't like ghouls. Ghouls are an abomination, and they want to eradicate them. So, of course, the Dead Rising, they would be interested in getting rid of that as well.
Not a fan of early 360 era Capcom then, huh?
No, they're dedicated to rooting out the problem, and the way that they go about it is they get a little old-fashioned Wrath of God vengeance on the Shedim.
power of Christ compels.
Yes, their usual modus operandi is to capture a single Shedim, perform an exorcism, and then destroy the released spirit before it can find a new home.
Oh, is that different from a banishment?
Exorcism and banishment are about the same.
An exorcism is just a religious banishment.
That's what I was wondering.
Mm-hmm. It's just slow goings because they're eliminating them one at a time.
Hmm.
Now, of course, you know that the mega corporations aren't just going to stand by and allow Shedim to run rampant over their stock of the world and their own corporate livestock, you know.
Right.
So the large arcane focused organizations have brought their weight to bear against the Shedim, and this includes the Draco Foundation, the Astral Space Prevention Society or Preservation Society, and the Atlantean Foundation. All three
Okay, so
of
we got a couple organizations helping out.
yes. The Draco Foundation is trying to lure Shedim to them with the promise of artifacts and then trap and destroy them. The Astral Space Preservation Society sees the Shedim as an astral menace, that they don't belong on this plane. And so they are using all of their magical resources that they have at their disposal to banish them wherever they find them.
And are these like front facing organizations, or is it like okay?
Well, Draco Foundation.
Oh yeah, true, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So they're the ones saying to stay vigilant.
Yes.
Okay.
The Atlanteans are a slightly different story, and they don't have a direct connection to the Shedim issue, yet they are spending billions of new yen to thwart them.
I mean, hey, you do your part.
The focus for the Atlantean Foundation versus the Shedim is containment and elimination. They want to push Shedim into the open and break up their operations and their bases of operation.
It sounds like the equivalent of demon slayers or like
Just
modern
about,
day militarized exorcists.
right? The Atlantean Foundation, their mystic crusaders,
Ugh.
are heralded as some of the best in the world at fighting the Shedim.
Are there any like go-to items? You know, like if we're thinking like demon hunting, like a cross, holy water. Is there a Shedim spray just spray in someone's face and they're like, ah,
No, there's not a Shedim spray.
versus
I know, very,
anti
very
like
unfortunate.
anti Shedim bullets, like
No anti Shedim bullets. Sorry.
like I'm trying to think of what kind of training you would do other than like, hey, this is what they look like, but like how many of them are normie people trying to kill Shedim? I want to know about the Brotherhood.
Well, they'll hire normies probably to be cannon fodder while they fight the
Oh,
Shedim. So I can give you a brief description of what the Shedim actually looks like in the astral. I have the description.
assuming they don't have like the whatever cloaking they have to make it look normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. What paint me that word picture?
The astral form of the Shedim is similar to a spectral jellyfish.
I feel like we talked about this. Did we talk
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah, I said that they were kind of like bloopers. So
Oh yeah, they're kind of cute.
the form hides completely inside the physical form of a host shell unless it's using its energy drain ability. And when it does that, it looks like the jellyfish tentacles are slipping out and pulsing with energy once they make contact with the victim's aura. Being able to spot the Shedim with a sensing is mixed, seeing that the actual spirit inside the host is nearly impossible. But the host form looks like a gray ghost of a metahuman form on the astral.
A host being like the person, the normal
What they're
person.
what they're inhabiting, the shell.
Okay, so if you're looking at a person, their shell is just like, or their body is just like gray, or are you saying that this is what it looks like when someone's possessed?
On the astral, it looks
Oh, on
like,
the astral.
yeah, it looks like their spirit is just, they're like a gray blob.
Mm.
And of course, if you try to peer too closely into the body, the Shedim spirit will engage you in astral combat.
Oh, okay. They can very much tell if you're looking at them.
Mm-hmm. Here's your extra information. Shedim are not limited in their skills. They can learn new skills, and they aren't beyond using modern technology to defend themselves or find food. Being able to fire guns is common. They often use weapons that are loaded with gel or taser shock rounds to incapacitate so they can feed off your energy.
Oh, that's messed up.
They want you alive.
It's when you taste the freshest.
It is when you taste the freshest.
Oh no.
So, how do you get rid of them? There are two methods to destroy the Shedim. Severing a Shedim from its host form occurs in one of two ways. You either kill the body or you banish the spirit. Killing the body is difficult, as all damage inflicted on the Shedim inhabiting the body goes directly to the body first. Even mana spells.
Oh, so you really have to kill someone to do the like leftover damage, I suppose. To
Yes.
eesh, rough.
You guys have to successfully do enough physical damage to the body and overcome the spirit regeneration to force it out of the shell. Once you
You got
have,
to like kind of overkill the host. Sounds like.
yes, like blow off the limbs,
Mm.
desiccate the whole body, put it on fire, everything.
Okay.
Until it's ashes on the ground, assume that you're not done. Once you have forced the Shedim out of the shell, you have to engage it in astral combat before it flees to try and inhabit a new shell.
And how much harder are they to fight in the astral?
Well, it's like fighting any spirit in the astral.
Okay, so they're not like a more powerful.
No, they're not more
Okay.
powerful in the astral. They're still spirits. And once you defeat them in astral combat, then they just fade away into nothing.
Okay, so if I'm thinking about it correctly, it's not that they're superior, powerful spirits. It's just that they're really resilient because they can just take on a new host, or they're just, they're harder to kill, I suppose.
True.
Okay, just wasn't sure.
Plus, with this being all lore all the time, I do have an answer for why they're here, and this is listed in the GM section of going over the aspects of the spirit. So, what is their purpose on Earth? Super simple. Wipe out all the life forms, wipe out all the forms of life. Why? Because they want to. That is less. That's less competition, fewer things hunting them. Total top of the food chain.
Subtle, nuanced.
They also enjoy breaking things. Their methods can be unpredictable, and a species with their lust for destruction is not comprehensible to most people.
So they're big fans of Limp Bizkit, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, they definitely enjoy "Give Me Something to Break."
That's good. That's good.
They're actually drawn to new metal.
And the body that they're in dies, baby. Just keep on rolling, baby.
You know what time it is.
You know what time it is.
Throw your tentacles up.
Throw your tents up. Bring it up.
Shedim flavored water.
Oh my god.
Chocolate Shedim.
Chocolate Shedim is a great name.
And the astro flavored water.
I was gonna say chocolate Shedim in the corpse flavored water.
Oh my god. Time we start a metal cover band of Limp Bizkit, but it's all based in Shadowrun.
My god.
Yeah, truly.
Fantastic. So the last little bit I have for you, I can give you the different types of Shedim that there are, other than just the Master Shedim, who serves as kind of like the general or the director for the actions of the other Shedim. You have the Hoppers. Hoppers jump from shell to shell to travel long distances to save themselves, or just to mess with people's heads. They are dangerous because they need forms in range to hop into, and they have been known to create their own stores of hosts. So they just leap from one host to another, never staying in one body for very long. Then you have the Unbreakables. Master Shedim love to keep a few of these close at hand in case of trouble. They are great bodyguards, but can also be used as an effective terror tool. A single skilled Unbreakable Shedim can wreak havoc on a small town or equivalent area.
These are the tank Shedim.
Yes. Okay. They are the tank Shedim. They can, in fact, almost handle a shot from a tank.
Almost.
And then finally, you have the horror shows. The horror show is what happens when a Master Shedim learns all the rituals and has time to use them. Horror shows tend to be smarter than others of their kind, and they will slowly sow fear into the local populace, allowing a Master Shedim to come in and use the distorted background count of the area to their advantage. So there you go. There are your different types of Shedim. You have just the regular run-of-the-mill Shedim spirit, the Master Shedims, the Hoppers, the Unbreakables, and the horror shows.
Lovely.
Which are so clearly the worst of the bunch. So many flavors of Shedim.
So many. Now, I do have my random pedantic question of the episode because I was thinking about this earlier.
I'm ready. Hit me.
All right. What fast food restaurant slogan best represents Shedems? Because I have mine. My answer would be Subway, which is eat fresh.
I was gonna say Burger King, have it your way.
Have it your way. Yep, that's a good one.
Oh crud! What is it? We have the meat.
Arby's. we have the
once
meat.
again.
You know what?
Applicable.
That's a good one. I'll give
That
it.
is a good one.
My runner up was Olive Garden. When you're
When you
here,
hear
your
your
family.
Oh my god.
Yeah, actually.
I
Yeah,
like
that's
Arby's
good.
though. I think Arby's might be the winner. It's
Arby's
really
is
good.
very good.
Hey man, I was gonna go for the have it your way, but that was just the first one that came to mind.
You know, those were all very good.
Yes. These are the important questions, you know.
These are
Lore
the
lore is
important
lore,
questions.
and we love the lore. But we also want to know, you know, what would they do for was it Klondike bar? Yeah, what would they do for a Klondike bar?
What
You
would
know?
they do for a Klondike bar? Speaking of how much we love the lore, we actually got a comment in regards to that real quick, easy, if you'd like to field this. We had a comment from Aod? Aod? AAOD? You know what? I'm gonna go with Aod.
Okay.
Who said in regards to our episodes here that he is shocked at how much you know and wants to know, do you research the things that we talk about beforehand and keep notes, or is this all just off the top of your dome every episode that we do, like some type of encyclopedia day Shadowrun?
Well, as much as I would love to just say that I am an encyclopedic font of knowledge for Shadowrun.
Then do
And
it.
you
Just
are.
say it.
You
Just
just
say
say
it.
it.
It's fine. Just say it.
I'm gonna be honest.
On the record.
On the record.
I 100% do a lot of research beforehand. I'll pick the topics that I think are going to be interesting, that I feel like have good juicy lore bits that the community would enjoy, and I do the research and really dive down into as much as I can. I have a lot of books to look through. I have a lot of PDFs to look through. And I pull out the important stuff. I'll make little notes for myself that I have, and I try to put that into a cohesive thought process as best as I can, and then deliver it to you guys. Obviously, you don't see it, you don't hear it, but there is some lovely editing that takes place.
What do you mean? We do this all in one sitting.
Oh yeah,
without
this
any
is
Yeah,
one.
break.
This is one
single take.
Single
Doing it
take.
live. Doing it live to tape.
Frag it, we're doing it live.
Exactly.
So that is the answer. Yes, I do extensive research beforehand, as much as I can, to be able to give you guys all this lore.
And we appreciate it on our end.
Hell yeah.
I hope so. It's pretty daunting. There's lots to go through.
Now, outside of the lore that you prepare for, if somebody, say, had a question that they wanted to ask specifically in regards to the Sixth World or Shadowrun lore itself, what would be a good way for them to do so?
Hell, you could keep on listening to our lore podcasts to get answers to some of those questions, or you could feel free to come on over and join our Discord, where you'll be able to actually interact with us. I know, members from the show, you can ask your questions. Even better, though, even better, if you join our Patreon over at patreon.com/critical_hits for just 5 lovely new yen a month. You get a peek behind the scenes. You get updates on all of our upcoming goodies, like new artwork that we're working on, or new things for both Shadowrunning on Empty and our Sinless show that we're doing. You also get shouted out at the end of every episode of our Sinless show, and we are into production on season 2. Yay. But there's also a segment just for our patrons from our Shadowrun Empty lore podcast, which we call Worm Talk, where we actually take in all of your questions that you submit, and we will go through and answer every one of them. So those are your fantastic options that you have to be able to participate in our community and field any kind of question that you might have about the Sixth World.
And episode 2 of Worm Talk will be being recorded soon. So if you want to
Yes,
make
it
sure that
will.
you've got anything you want to get in before that, if you gotta know the answers now, there's never been a better time to join the fantastic Patreon.
Yes, this is the time to jump in, get those burning 6 world questions answered.
I have a plug for our show here because speaking of upcoming soon, speaking of the 6 world, speaking of
What?
season 2 of Sinless,
Whoa.
edit this if you need to, because I have the dates here for those interested in the upcoming season 2. The official start we have here is, and I'm going to space this out, April 17th. You're going to get our first episode of Sinless season 2, but that's not all. There are a couple of changes in our good old roster for our gang, and you can get our good old episode 0 on April 10th. So keep an eye out. Spread the word.
Ooh. Excitement across the board. Well,
I
guys.
play in this game and I haven't even seen episode 0 yet.
Whoa.
Hey, I haven't seen episode 1. What do you know?
Oh, geez. Well, you know what? Listeners, you'll have the opportunity to both hear and listen to episodes 0 and 1 as soon as they release.
Ones. What do you know?
How about that? Once again, I would like to reach out and thank all of our listeners for joining us on this lovely lore jaunt this evening. I thank my co-hosts as well for being part of this ride and offering up some very interesting questions. But I think we are going to wrap it up for this evening. And as always, you guys, we will see you on the next one.
The Topps Company Inc. has sole ownership of the names, logo, artwork, marks, photographs, sound, audio, video, and or any proprietary materials used in connection with the game Shadowrun. The Topps Company Inc. is granted permission to Critical Hits to use such names, logos, artwork, photographs, sound, audio, video, and or any proprietary materials for promotional and informational purposes on its website, but does not endorse and is not affiliated with Critical Hits in any official capacity whatsoever.